Welcome everyone to Dabi and Costello, the misadventures of two opera singers of dubious sobriety from either side of the Hudson. It is a gray, disgusting April 12th today here in New York, New Jersey. And Stephen, I liked your headbanging.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
I always enjoy watching, so I can see you during the introduction, right?
Oh, really?
And
You
yeah,
should
I
have
can
mentioned that like weeks ago.
I'm ruining my own entertainment by not revealing. I mean, it's usually really mundane stuff that people do, like they're just like checking their watch or like they're
Yeah.
talking to somebody. But I really enjoy your sort of lost child, like looking around thing. I really enjoy.
You know what it's called? It's called boredom. It's called.
Really, our introduction's awesome. What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not saying that I get bored sitting at home anymore. And I'm just fucking going off the rails. I'm going out
So it's
all
just
over
a
the place.
normal, generalized boredom that you're talking.
Yeah. 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 But we're going. I can officially say this now because it was released today that my wife and I will be making a trip down to Dallas, Texas on April 28th. So I'm not sure when is that? Well, one of our shows will be while I'm there. So I'll be coming live from Dallas because we don't return until May 5th.
Oh.
So we're going down to Dallas to do. My wife is playing with members of the Met Orchestra.
So this is a big story this week, actually, is it not?
And a combined concert with the Dallas Symphony, conducted by Maestro Fabio Luisi, set up by Maestro Fabio Luisi, in support of the Met Orchestra being out of work, and another organization, I believe, that's part of Texas. So it's a big deal. I mean, you have to give Fabio Luisi credit, man. I mean, he's really doing things for an orchestra that he conducted a lot of times and seems to really care about. So.
It's a big deal. I know our buddy Norman Lebrecht over on Slip Disc took it as a shot across the bow to the Met to say, look, they're doing something for the musicians. Do you think that's unfair?
Yeah, I think it's unfair because look, when you say something like that, you're then making it seem like you're lessening what it is that Fabio is doing. You know what I mean? You're lessening the impact of it, and it's really a gesture for him to support players that he really appreciates. I think that's really all it is. I mean, if you've ever worked with Fabio Luisi, which I have, he is an incredible musician, an incredible conductor, and a very generous and very nice man. So I think he respects musicians. I think he respects the art of music, and I think when you see something like this, it's nothing a swipe at anything. It's because of the respect he has, but because of the respect he has for those players.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much of a swipe as though to say, look how great what this guy's doing, other people should reciprocate. Maybe the employer or whomever.
Yeah, I guess. But you know what? Whether you look at it or not, it's not a bad thing. And to make it seem catty in that way, it just cheapens a really nice moment in music,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad for the Met musicians too. They deserve to work.
So it's exciting.
Very, very nice. I want to get right into our guest because I want our guest's input on some of the stories of the week here. Our guest is the great mezzo-soprano Heather Johnson. She's a graduate of the Manhattan School of Music. She's sung with the Metropolitan Opera, Boston Lyric Opera, American Lyric Theatre, Dallas Opera, along with many, many others. She also happens to be one of my favorite people and colleagues who currently resides in my hometown where I grew up, which is very exciting. And I actually wanted to start with a very provocative question, and one that is wholly necessary every time I have a fellow Jewish singer as a guest. And that is, Heather, do you like gefilte fish?
No. Not at all.
It's a very divisive topic among Jewish people.
Hey, whoa. Not just Jewish people.
Oh,
not just Jewish people. I've been to a Seder or two in my life. So.
And what did you think of gefilte fish?
I think it's disgusting.
Not just
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's like fish jelly. It's disgusting. Sorry.
That's okay.
My son sings this really hilarious song though. My son sings this really hilarious song around Passover that he learned at school. And one of the things, on Pesach we eat matzah, lots of matzah, matzah. It's yummy in my tummy. And and then there's all these, we eat finger licking chicken, but one of them is smelly in the belly, gefilte fish. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it.
I grew up liking it. I don't know. Yeah, cheers. What are you drinking there also as well?
Okay. So, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. It's really fun. And sorry, I was having some technical difficulties there. So this is something that is called Haman's Brew. Speaking of Jews, or not Jews, but
yes. Haman, of course, the villain in the book of Esther that we celebrate on his demise over Purim. Yes.
So it's bourbon, juice of a lemon, the simple syrup that first you mull like some sage, and a little splash of soda. It's quite good.
Oh. Well, she's making
we haven't really drank on our show in a while, have we?
It's been a while. It has been a while, hasn't it?
It really has. I'm not quite sure why that is. All of our guests have been bringing drinks, and it's been great. But we haven't been drinking. I don't get it. I think
we can remedy that. I mean, I can just reach behind here. Or,
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you got it. I know that room, Steve.
Do you like?
I know. I could just. What's that?
There you go.
That's good.
Right into straight from the bottle, right into the Buffalo Trace.
That Buffalo Trace is what I've got going right here. So there you go.
I have it right over there.
Nice.
I'll do Buffalo Trace. Fantastic. It's the oldest
Here's
distillery in America.
Here's my question for you. Do you like horseradish with your gefilte fish?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. So
acceptable.
That's more acceptable. Okay. Heather, you've guided us through this. So everyone seems to know you. You've sung all over the place, right? What are you doing during the pandemic? How have you done? You obviously spent a lot of time with your amazing genius son, who we've talked about many times before. But what else have you been up to?
So, let's see. Homeschool. School. No. The pandemic has been, if we're keeping it real, a nightmare for everybody. As we all know, it's been like this just shit show. And frankly, like at the beginning, it was so funny. I was thinking about it. I was talking recently with a friend. And like at the beginning, it was kind of felt like a snow day.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to do puzzles and like video chat with my friends and drink wine in the middle of the day. And then by like a month in, you're like, I don't have any income coming in. Everything's canceled. And, this is for real skis. So I was really depressing. have gone through like in keeping it real, super duper depressed. Like, and questioning what it is that I do, questioning what's it going to be like when we all come back? Is it going to be like the Hunger Games among singers? They're like, may the odds be ever in your favor if you get a job.
It already is. It already is like the Hunger Games. Let me just say that. I have been fucked over by someone else's manager very recently because one of their jobs was canceled and they pushed their way back into another job, which was offered to me. Long story short, it is like the fucking Hunger Games. It's getting bad out there. Okay. Sorry, my God, was it too much?
I know
it's the Buffalo Trace.
Okay, no. Just give me their names. I'll take care of them for you. I'm really good with the nunchucks. So no, so it was again like it was, and also too with my son who's 7, he just turned 7. He was in kindergarten, and then like for them to go to homeschool and then he's been in homeschool or online school, I should say, the entire year. Which for my kid, not so good. So
why is that?
Sam is it's been rough. Well, because look, when you're 7, it's super duper hard to pay attention that long, and also too because like Sam's like brain is like wackadoo in some ways and like amazing in other ways. He's super advanced academically. So like when the kids I'm not putting down the kids in his class. He's in first grade when they're like learning what number combinations equal 10, and he can do like 7th grade math practically. It's really boring for him. And yeah, it's not, but so yeah, so and I've done, like everybody, I've done some, uh
Teaching.
virtual, but yeah, and like virtual concerts and that kind of thing and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, it's getting old. And I feel like, I mean, you and I were talking about this earlier, is that like everybody kind of thought about putting out a lot of content, like content. And it's just, there's so much saturation that I was talking to a friend of mine who's an administrator with a company, and we were like, I just can't look at another person's like home recital. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Know. Yeah.
So,
Well, it also seems like that people are putting a lot of content out without like the fact of the repercussions of things, meaning that like not all content is good.
Agreed.
Some content is very good.
Agreed.
And not just that, you're selling yourself short on a lot of this content. Like we were talking a long time ago about recitals, for instance. Before pre-pandemic, you would do a recital in, say, an opera house. It wasn't streamed, so you could then take that same recital and go to another house or another theater, and you could do a whole tour of that recital.
Right.
What the streaming has done is now enabled you to actually keep reusing the same material over again for a recital, because you do a recital online, it's there. Anybody can download it, anybody can see it. You can't do another streamed recital with the same thing. So you're almost, it just seems like you're putting yourself in a little corner there,
Do you think this is how Rossini felt when he realized that he had to compose new music instead of just cutting and pasting all of his other shit, because he knew that the people from the other region of Italy hadn't yet heard it? So that's how he got away with it?
No, are you kidding? Rossini, like, he's the king of the stealer.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's
I
what I
don't
mean.
want to write an overture.
Now
Let's
we
steal
feel
this
like
from here. Yeah.
Just have the same opera, just change the title and maybe make it French. And now it's totally different. Now it's totally new piece. So actually, it's funny you mentioned we talked about the challenges of what's the word, of homeschooling, right? So talk to us about a little bit about that, because there are not many people. I didn't realize there's only like 36 million parents of school-age children.
Wait,
So
what?
it's a lot fewer than I thought. Yeah, there are only about 36 million parents of school-age children in America right now.
How do you know that?
I just read an article about it. But talk to us about it.
Is that why you want to talk about it? Because you read an article?
Okay. So
No, actually, because okay. No,
So, okay. So I have to say this. My parents are both musicians and educators, and long since retired. But the teachers are doing the absolute best. They are. I don't know how they're doing it. It's like there's a reason why last year at the end of the year everybody was like, teachers are the greatest. It's true. They're working so hard.
Do you think they don't want to get back to school though? Like I feel like
No.
there's a bit of a hesitancy to get back from some of them. Is that not the case?
Well, I think there is a hesitancy, but wouldn't you have a hesitancy if you were thrown in with kids that are like, that have no hygiene, and I don't know, like now, for instance, Sam's school is going back to hybrid where people can, and they're going to be all day. We're not putting him in. We're sort of nervous Nellies about this. I mean, we're vaccinated, but I'm worried about the variants, and I'm worried about him getting it, and like, what if he gets it, and what happens to if you in the long haul, if you've got it. Like, we don't know. It's such there's a reason why it's called a novel virus, is because we don't know anything about it. So what happens if he gets it and then later on he has complications from it in his life, and anyway, blah blah blah. And frankly, we can travel if he is not in school. So We can go visit my parents, or we can go visit my friend in Florida and like my brother and that kind of thing. And he can just go to school wherever we are. So that works well. But it's not great for him, you know. It's not great for kids that are like they're like, oh look, a bird. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna do this. Wait, oh, there is like his attention is all over the map. So that's crazy making. But and he likes to tell me that I'm in trouble a lot of the time.
He likes to tell you what's that?
That I'm in trouble.
Yo, you're in trouble.
Yeah, he tells me all the time I'm in trouble.
Oh.
But I say, oh, Sam, you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Or, Sam, look at the teacher. One more warning. You get one more warning, and then you are going to have to stand in the corner. Okay. Oh. Great.
Well, all this talk of...
Anyway, so that's that.
Sorry.
No,
well,
that's,
all
I
the
mean,
talk about,
like,
we're talking about kids
okay.
in school now. We're talking about kids in school leads us to our topic, one of the topics here, and that is the dipshit of the week. And who is the dipshit of the week for me? Drum roll, it is YouTube. And why is YouTube this week's dipshit of the week? Last week, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis hosted a stream of a panel of science experts to discuss COVID. Among them were the Harvard medical professor Martin Kulldorff, who was a biostatistician and epidemiologist, as well as Jay Bhattacharya, a professor of medicine at Stanford University and a research associate at the National Bureau of Economic Research. And one of the many findings and opinions that they were discussing was that they felt that children don't need to wear a mask, that they don't, this was their particular professional opinion, that they're not substantial hosts or spreaders of the virus. Well, this was deemed beyond the pale for YouTube, who immediately took down the virtual forum for, quote, misinformation. The reason why I think they're a dipshit is because, A, these are leading experts in their field, and the other word is the misinformation statute of YouTube apparently only seems to apply on occasion. For example, the 9/11 truther film Loose Change, which contends that a missile hit the Pentagon and not a plane, currently enjoys over 1 million views, and that's the new version. The old one had 4 million views in just a couple months. And also, furthermore, even Dr. Fauci's interviews around the beginning of the pandemic where he advocated against mask wearing are also there. So now YouTube is sort of selectively taking things down. This is part of like a big topic that really gets me going, is this sort of arbitrary just taking things down. They just recently, thankfully, decided to take down Holocaust denial videos. Thank you very much. Welcome to who knows what year. So YouTube, to me, gets the dipshit of the week. What do we think about any of this internet censorship?
You know, when I was in Paris for the 2 months that I was there, children in general weren't wearing masks because their government thought the same thing. They just assumed that children under a certain age were less likely to get the virus based on whatever their findings were. So this isn't a new theory, you know what I mean? And right. YouTube being such a global organization should know that. I think the issue is
some dude in a tinfoil hat saying it.
No, of course, but the problem is
of their field.
The problem is that when you see it get flagged like this, then people automatically think like it's a political reason, it's this and that, when it's just complete bullshit, to be quite honest with you. And so this is what's causing, I believe, a lot of people to fear the virus more, and a lot of people to be anti-vaxxers. It's shit like this where organizations will take down information. I personally think all the information, whether it's right or wrong, is great. Because somewhere between the right information and the wrong information is the truth, you know? There's got to be middle ground somewhere of where they came up with this and why they thought this. So I feel like when they do shit like this gives people more conspiracy theory, and then it just makes people less likely to do the right thing.
And I'll also say, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn by just saying that you and I, Stephen, are by no means COVID denialists. We're both vaccinated. We adhere to all this thing, so it's not like some this is 5G shit we're talking about here.
Correct.
This is just another opinion, and it speaks to sort of a bigger problem, I think. So they talked to NY law professor Richard Epstein, and he's argued that these sort of internet behemoths, his solution, he thinks that they should be sort of public utilities This is his idea, right? Just like a railroad can't refuse to transport a person because that person believes the earth is flat, or like a phone company can't drop a call if the person is talking about Pizzagate, right? So he's suggesting that neither should sort of online monopolies have the power to do that. What do you make of all this nonsense, Heather?
Okay. So
Okay.
I have a couple different feelings about it. Having just watched the QAnon thing on HBO
Oh God.
and like freedom of speech online and that kind of thing, which by the way is awesome. I'm kind of a how can I say this? I'm kind of like a QAnon like freak. Like I don't
Like you like
understand how anybody would
to
believe
investigate it, but you don't believe it, right? You like
Yes.
to investigate it. Okay.
I don't. Yeah, like
I feel that way about Scientology.
Me too. No, me too. No, that's any kind of cultish thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
So-
There used to be, sorry, before it was a quick story, there used to be in Hamburg on my way back to my hotel from the Opera House. Every day I would walk past this big Church of Scientology type thing. And I always try to like peek in the windows, see what's going on, but not get too close in case somebody at the window grabs you and brings you in. Locks you in the basement with Katie Holmes. I don't want that.
and like, and hooks you up to the machine, and then you come out with a black hand. No, So okay, I may disagree with you on this one, Gideon.
That's fair.
So the reason, okay, it's a fine line, and I totally understand your point, and I hear your point, and your point is valid, and I get it. They're not wackadoo people. They're not, tinfoil hat. But I think that there's so much misinformation that's out there now that particularly on the YouTube, particularly on Facebook, all of that kind of thing, that they're trying, and there's so much, I feel like I live in I take crazy pills every day when I look at the news still, even though what's-his-face is gone. Because I don't understand, like, particularly, okay, so I'm gonna segue just slightly.
That's fine.
For Yom HaShoah that my husband's shul did. He said, my husband's a cantor.
That's Holocaust Remembrance Day for people who don't know, by the way.
For Holocaust Remembrance Day, there was a woman who spoke, amazing woman. If you ever encounter her or just want to Google her and listen to her speak, her name is Toby Levy. And she was from Poland, and she's a survivor. She lived for 2 months in the attic of a barn with 9 other people. And as she's talking about it, like, if you wanted to roll over while you were sleeping, everybody had to roll over, So that, and like living, and she, as she said, there were 2 pails for waste, and I'm not conflating the two by any stretch of the imagination, but we're saying there shouldn't, and this is a little bit different than what you're talking about, but what I'm saying is that I don't understand the mask resistance. I don't get it.
Okay, but that's.
It's not a mask resistance. I don't think it's about whether kids under a certain age should be wearing masks, and the science behind kids contracting the COVID virus and kids being hospitalized for it is very, very minimal.
I agree. But it's leading to a bigger, like, I'm not quite getting to the meta of it. But what I think is that for anything that is there's probably so sensitive now that anything that says no masks, they're like, take it off. You know?
No, I understand that, but
I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say anything saying DeSantis on it is automatically flagged and taken down.
Well, that could be.
Which is what I think happens more so than the message in the video.
Yeah.
So I think when he opens his mouth, or just he's just saying something.
But do we think, like, I was always on the side of, like, let these companies do what they want to do. There's no, like, constitutional right to be able to post bullshit on Twitter, right? It's a private company, etc. But the issue is with these sort of monopolistic ideas, right? Like, Google search engine is 90% of the market share. I mean, how are we going to argue that like DuckDuckGo is a real competitor? You know, Amazon has 80% of the digital books sale, and you know, if they take down a book, which they have, you know, what do you do? I mean, like, so there was that kerfuffle even also now with Dr. Seuss, right? Where the publishing catalog decided to stop publishing a few of their books, but now eBay won't allow you to resell them. Like, that's sort of bizarre. I totally get the choice to be like, okay, well, we don't support this, so we're not going to do it. You know, we're not going to publish these books anymore. Fine. But then eBay comes in and says, no, you can't even sell them anymore. Like, I just think that's kind of weird.
You sound like a real libertarian. You'd really like.
I'm something of a free speech absolutist. Okay, you know, I'll cop to that, to being something of a free speech absolutist. I just get worked up because, like, I mean, we knew that COVID was transmitted on surfaces. We knew that we didn't need to wear masks. No, this is what I'm saying, right? We knew all of this stuff, and then it changes.
It's true, and I agree. And they have found that children don't usually carry a large viral load in the nasopharynx. So, like, I am behind it all. I get it all. Yeah. I guess that I am such like a goody two shoes. like wear your mask, wear a double mask, like listen to Dr. Fauci. So I feel like I'm sort of in that school of thought, and also too just because, but at the same time I get it about the kids. Like, it's really sad to see, like, when we get together with our friends, our little chavara when we get together with our friends and the kids play and they have to have their masks on, and you wonder, like, what is that doing any sort of, particularly socially when kids are this young. You have to learn to read, and particularly for my kids, you know, if you're ever like any kid that's on the spectrum, you have to worry about, like, they need to learn how to read facial emotion, and it's hard for them to begin with. So, like, when you're just doing, like, you know, so I get it.
You know, we had Jessica Klein on our show a few months ago. Jessica Klein runs a foundation for SALA, which is a sort of rare degenerative illness found mostly in Nordic people for whatever reason. And she got people noticed her when the flight the flight crew was awful to her because her 5-year-old son Benny, who has solid disease, he kept on taking his mask off. And just, it was one of the hardest things to see anyway, but let alone when it's a friend of ours who's just sobbing with her mask on because her son, who is quite disabled, you know, is you know, ripping his mask off, doesn't want to do it when it's not even, it seems, at least according to a few experts, not necessary. So that's why I'm giving YouTube the dipshit of the week, even if they don't agree. I think these people can leave their things.
Well, I mean, I also think, you know, if we're going to start putting like disclaimers on things and taking things down, I mean, every fucking TikTok video that's up there should have a disclaimer that say this may cause you to go blind, your ears to bleed, and may cause you to have like mental disturbances. I honestly think a lot, like 50% of those TikTok videos should have that label. So, I mean, it's true.
Well, we're gonna change gears to something far more amusing, and that is, a homeless man poses as a USC football player. That's right, a homeless man poses as a member of the USC Trojans football team, walking in with the team, eating at the football dining facility, even sleeping at the designated suites for the team, and he even shared a jacuzzi with members of the squad. Now, normally the thumbprint security would stop such an imposter from entering, but because of COVID-19 protocols, the organization decided to mostly do away with that. They didn't want people touching things, and the best part of this was that this guy felt so at ease in his situation that he thought he would show that he truly belongs on the football team by taking a shot at returning some fucking punts at practice. So the coaches immediately noticed that this player was not quite up to par with the Division I powerhouse, and the guy was identified. Apparently, he matched the name and description of somebody who had broken into the stadium previously. I love this story. I wonder how long he faked out, at least for a few days.
That's a story of, having such a good thing going and then wanting a little too much. Like he could have really kept going on with this thing. I mean, he could have done this for a long time if no one caught it so far. I mean, if you don't know a guy you're sharing a jacuzzi with his home, where you don't know that he's not a member of the organization, he could have gone a long time.
I know, like, practice squads and with a full team, it can be like 100 people, and especially when it's new, you don't know a lot of the players. This guy
I mean, kudos to him. That was ballsy. That was ballsy. He's like, I'm gonna give myself some food. I'm gonna get you someplace.
Yeah.
I mean, no harm done.
How funny is it? And apparently, it seems to be that it was voluntary. His move to go out onto the football field. It wasn't like, okay, it's your turn now, go try it.
Well, maybe
he's like, I want it.
Maybe he's like, now's my chance.
Yeah, he's like, I always knew I was a pro. I was gonna go pro, fucking playing football. Runs and returns. I absolutely love that story.
That's all right. We'll see him in Congress in a couple months, voting on the floor, pretending he's a.
Do you guys remember during Nelson Mandela's funeral, there was a guy who was signing? Like the.
I remember.
Do you remember this? He was doing like the sign for the hard of hearing. I don't know if it was
sign language.
Yeah, sign language. It wasn't. I don't know if it was ASL or whatever, which one it was, but he was doing this thing, and he's like 10 feet away from Barack Obama. Well, Obama's giving this eulogy about Nelson Mandela, and this guy's just he's getting all into it, and what I'm doing, by the way, all this stuff, I'm making fun of him, not signers, because he turned out to be a complete fucking fraud. And there were people who were watching who know sign language, like, this guy is not signing. and hold on, talk about it for a second. I want to show you this guy's picture if you guys don't remember. This is my favorite thing.
I remember it because I remember thinking, wow, that's a very animated sign language person.
Is there a video of it up?
There is a video. Do you want to see the video of it?
Yeah, I mean, well, if we play it, are we going to get taken down again?
Yeah, this was from Jimmy Kimmel. Unfortunately, they're going to show that, so I can't. But I'll show you. I think I can show you a still of this. This is honestly like one of my absolute favorite moments of any. Here, check this out. Here we go. There, look at this. There he is, right next to Obama. So he's got the medallion on, or his press credentials or whatever, or credentials to get onto the stage. Anyway, speaking of a good fraud, but and apparently, by the way, that wasn't his first go around. He had done something else a few times. They'd used him beforehand. I guess they didn't bother to. They didn't bother to interpret. I was gonna say. I guess they didn't bother to figure that out.
They wanted somebody with gusto. That's right.
Oh, there you go. This is a fun little horrible story that we're not going to show the video for this story, and that is here we go. Okay, so Ketag Pliev of Cage Fury Fighting lost his finger in an MMA bout. All right, he lost his finger in an MMA bout against Devin Goodale on a roundhouse kick. Now, the fight was stopped when the referee noticed that Pliev was missing his left ring finger. So for several minutes, those in the venue were searching for this guy's finger. They couldn't find it. The event promoter said that officials were looking all around the cage, and this is the part that gets me. There was even an announcement over the PA system asking people to look for the lost finger. Can you imagine what that would have been like? It's like, if you're the owner of a white Corolla with a Pennsylvania license plate, your license, also please look at the area around your seat for a missing fucking finger.
Yeah, but wait, how long did it take from like the time that like he lost his finger to the time that he realized he didn't have his finger?
That's what I wondered.
So he was like that. I don't want to show the video, right? A will probably get taken down. Fucking dipshit YouTube. B, I don't want to show people. We might have kids watching, but it's actually you can't really see anything.
Whoa. We have kids watching this show.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. All the stuff we say on the show, all the things that come out of our mouths, and now you're worried about kids seeing a finger disconnect. Come on.
All right, fine. I was just
Come
bullshitting. But
on.
anyway, so you see him kind of fighting with his hands up, and then the guy goes for a kick that he kind of just like swats away, and he just is kind of like, that's strange. Like he didn't go like, oh, he didn't freak out or anything. He's just like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then he's like, wait, this is really kind of weird. He didn't really know what had happened. Anyway, they found the finger. Where was it? Still in the glove.
Yeah, well, but wait. Isn't that the first place you look?
In which glove? Like
In his, they have gloves when they're fighting, like MMA fighting gloves.
Like the finger, did the glove get knocked off?
No, it was so bizarre. It's just like boom, and then he didn't even realize what had happened. It was
So
it was
was his
really
finger
bizarre.
was his finger injured prior to it ripping off?
I don't know. I couldn't
I have
tell
a
you,
lot of
but
questions about this.
well, I mean, here's the story.
I think
on
they should
ESPN,
have a.
so
I think
people
they
know
should
I'm
have
not
a
making
panel.
this up. But they were
think
able
they
to
should
save
have-
it.
Yeah.
He got
Where
emergency
was it?
surgery.
I can't read
When?
it. Where was this?
In America. It was right
Oh.
in Philadelphia, actually.
That's
Well, that makes sense. I mean,
interesting. What kind of people is that?
This is Cage Fury fighting.
I mean, I don't understand how. I mean, I don't get it. I don't want to get it.
I think I think we should see if someone's willing to come on and demonstrate how this could be possible.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's like breaking glass with your voice. I don't get it. Like, how do you knock a finger off when you're like?
What was the other story that oh, this is a good one. So I have this weird thing that I liked. I like television ratings and seeing when like shows I like do well and shows I don't like, bomb. I kind of enjoy that, the sort of ratings thing. But anyway, looks like the salty networks are blaming Nielsen itself for their ratings decline. So after record low viewership of last year's NBA Finals, as well as this year's NBA All-Star Game, so the networks have sort of banded together, and they think they found the culprit in the Nielsen Corporation. Nielsen, of course, is the ratings, compiler and analyst. They had to change a lot of things over the course of the pandemic. So usually they'll send guys out to sort of take a survey, how many people in your house, et cetera, et cetera. They do, and then they replace equipment because sometimes they need extra special equipment. But they stopped doing that because obviously they're not sending people to people's homes. So for those who don't know, Nielsen ratings are actually a percentage of the audience share. So like if you don't have the channel, you aren't counted in the ratings for a specific program. But with Nielsen not replacing with not replacing people, rather, it shows that like you have the channel but just aren't watching. So the percentage of your audience share goes down. So this is what the networks are saying, that they haven't accounted for the pandemic and these things. Nielsen, of course, turned right back around and called bullshit on the network, saying they've updated everything just fine, but that people just don't care about your shitty content is essentially what has happened. Heather.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Do you agree with that? What do you think?
Maybe, but I will tell you that Nielsen calls me all the time. Call me all the time, and they ask me, "Did you watch this? Did you watch that?" I'm like, I feel like I should contribute to this. So then I answer the questions and I do it, and like they send me like $1 or $10.
They actually send you money?
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
They do.
Literally $1?
Literally $1.
I think a lot of it's just shitty content. I'm getting tired of actually watching your favorite shows and watching them locked at home in quarantine in a fucking pandemic.
Hate it.
You know what I mean? I honestly don't want to sit and watch myself on TV, basically. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, what are they doing? Great, they're locked in the house, the quarantine. It fucking sucks. You know what I mean? It's TV. Half this shit on there is not believable anyway. Just go a little further.
So, I mean, I've gotten to the point now where, like, when I talk about, I think it's important to talk about this. Like, COVID depression is like a thing. Like, it was really bad for me. Super duper bad. Super duper bad. Like, where I couldn't pick up the phone and talk to people. After a while, I was like, what's happening? Not only that, but also coupled with midlife crisis. Come on. You two youngins don't understand that. But, so there's that. But also, too, I've gotten to the point where there's so much effing drama in my own life that I can't watch drama on TV. So what do I watch every day? Parks and Rec. There's not one line of Parks and Rec that I don't know. So it's like my go-to.
They had the pandemic special, too, though. I remember they were one of the first.
I was like, I can't watch any of, like, it. Like, I can only watch things that are happy and fun.
Yeah, if I'm watching a show, once they get to the pandemic part, click, turn it off.
Done.
Don't go back. I don't go back. I don't want to watch like 6 weeks of people in quarantine. I don't. I'm sorry. And I understand they're doing it because it's happening out there. But the thing is, it's happening out there. We're all living in it 24 fucking hours a day. I don't want to turn TV on and watch people living in a pandemic. I just don't want to do that.
People want to escape it. So
who's the first opera company that's going to reinvent La Boheme with COVID? I hope not.
Considering
really hope not.
Considering the goal is to go on stage without masks, I don't think it's a good choice.
No, I think it's a very, very, very bad choice. I hope that. You know what's funny though? They looked at the 1918 pandemic, the 1918 the Spanish flu, the big one. And apparently people behave just like they do now, where as soon as it was done, we're like, we don't want to see any of this shit. We don't want to read about books about it. We don't want to see anything, any of that. I really hope. Like there was that Michael Bay craptacular about like COVID-26 or something. I don't remember what it was, but bird something or other. I don't remember what that's how interested I am. I don't even know the title of it. I normally think he makes cute movies, but I couldn't. Well, just don't watch it. I wanted to actively not watch it if there was such a thing.
But it's
actively like ban it.
It's the thing. During this pandemic, a lot of people have not only lost jobs and money, they've lost family members. They worry about their family getting sick. They worry about their kids getting sick. They can't see their family. They can't travel. They can't do this. They all sit in the house. They all feel useful. And you know what? TV, movies, arts, like we do, things like that, are all designed not only to just spread art and show music, but it's also to get people out of their lives for maybe 2-3 hours a day. I mean, just take you away from everything that's on your mind, stress, worries, and just give you a little place to just kind of just enjoy, And when it's not enjoyable to watch other people stress about the same shit that you're stressing about. And I think that the faster that these fucking TV people realize that, the better off they're going to be. I understand you want to set an example and you want to show people to do the right thing, but at this point, a year into it already, people are either going to do the right thing or they're not. So, treat the people that are doing the right thing to a break every night in prime time,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so,
give us something to look forward to.
I agree. That's why I watch pro wrestling nonstop. Where they don't wrestle with masks either. So here's another thing. Here's actually, I hate to say, I read this an essay by this French intellectual, the Bernard Henri Lévy, who I adore, and he said that you can't ever say like, well, something good came out of the pandemic because you don't want to give anything good to the pandemic. Hey, it was a cute, nice message that I think it's important to acknowledge that we have innovated in certain ways because of it. And one of the things that they found now is the mRNA technology is showing promise against HIV. So this is a new thing that came out, a new study that came out about how effective it is. And they think they're going to be able to use mRNA technology against Zika, against all kinds of other viruses. This is a game changer.
Yeah, not only but also to autoimmune diseases. Like, for instance, I have fibromyalgia and celiac. If you have one autoimmune disease, they like each other and you usually get another one. But there's literally, that's what they tell you. So, but they also, like, they're finding that that this also might have ramifications going into that. I mean, it's a miracle. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Stephen, did you know this?
Yeah, I did know this.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. I think it's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible, and I hope that maybe we'll find all the cures for everything because of this. Maybe it's some sort of weird little benefit.
And I read an article recently about this woman who's really sort of the mother of this the mRNA, and she basically has been working not slaving, that's a terrible way to say it, but she's been working for practically no money, getting practically no research money, and it's really kind of her baby. And of course I can't remember, it's because I've got COVID brain. I can't remember where her lab is, but like she's kind of pioneered this, and it's really incredible. it's just incredible what I mean. I don't know if you guys. I know you're vaxxed, Gideon, but I got the Moderna. My husband got J&J. He only wanted J&J because he didn't want the mRNA. And I was like, I'm getting it, man. I'm like, I'm gonna give it a try. It might F me up, but
in an upcoming show, we're actually going to have my father on at some point. He's currently in Israel, mourning, sitting shiva for the loss of his mother, who passed away this week.
No, I'm
102.
sorry.
102 years old with a wonderful life. But he will come on and he explains all of the. He worked for J&J for many years. He's now retired, but he will break down all the materials in the vaccine and talk about all that kind of stuff.
What's his favorite?
He likes them all. He actually likes them all. He's happy for science. He's happy for humanity, for us to get past this. However, speaking of conspiracy theories, breaking just before this show, that's right, the Pentagon has admitted microchip treatments. That's right. They have revealed that they have found a technology or are working on a technology that will filter out the virus from your blood using a chip. It's inserted below the skin and triggers a sensor if COVID would infect the body. Bill Gates was right all along. Heather.
Yeah, I won't get that shit. I got to be honest with you. I will not get that shit. I
mean, this is one of the things we're talking about. But I just thought it was really funny.
Real. Is it real?
Well, I mean, yeah, it is real. It's sourced. It's real, but who knows how far along they are, if they are. But my favorite line is this. Hold on, if I can find my favorite line here, because I didn't get to do the usual prep for this story because it just happened here. They asked people worried about being tracked, and so they said something to the effect of where's this? So it talks about the New York Times article. Actually talks about it as well. They basically said, "Don't worry." We're not going to track you. We're not interested in tracking you. Like, oh, I trust that. Sure,
yeah,
well, you
bullshit.
said so.
Bullshit. They track you for everything. Are you kidding? They track your phones. Everything is tracked. We're not interested.
Can I just talk for a minute about I feel like, again, I go back to well, I don't really do anything wrong. So if you want to track me, it's okay. What's wrong with me? I should be outraged. But I'm like, it's okay if you track me, as long as blah, blah.
Yeah, it's actually very unlibertarian to me. I'm like, I don't care about a vaccine passport. I just don't care anymore. Fine, sign me up. I just don't care. I just can't.
Yeah, but a vaccine passport is just a fucking piece of paper that says you were vaccinated. This putting a microchip in you is completely different. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, this is different. I know. I was segueing to a more authoritarian position. but that's a very, very good thing that we can have forays into curing other ailments, and that's really good.
That is
for nothing else. I love that. Cure everything. And in a very, very serious note, of course, this is extremely serious. That's right. Turns out that Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction at Super Bowl 38 was anything but, says her stylist. That's right. Super stylist Wayne Scott Lucas says that Timberlake insisted on doing something bigger than the performance of Britney Spears, and we all know why. He wanted a big reveal, says this guy. He says the original concept was for Jackson to be in a pearl G-string, inspired by the one, I guess, that Kim Cattrall wore in an episode of Sex and the City. He says she was going to be in a oh my God, I don't even know how to say this. Jess is going to kill me. R-O-C-H-A? Rocha dress?
Roche?
I don't know. R-O-C-H-A. I don't know.
R-O...
Anyway, and Justin was going to step on the back of the dress to reveal her butt in the pearl G-string, but the outfit changed a couple of days before. He says, I wouldn't call it a wardrobe malfunction in a million years. It was the most functioning wardrobe in history. As a stylist, it did what it was intended to do. Heather, did we know this all along?
Yeah. Of course it did. We knew. She's you know.
So why did she look kind of lost after? Do you remember? Like I remember he does the reveal of her right breast, one of her breasts. I don't remember. And then she kind of like it looked like it was supposed to take like more off or something. I don't really know what happened. She looked kind of confused. I wasn't disappointed. I just saw her. I just remember she was like sort of like grabbing at herself, like oh shit, that wasn't all of it or something. I don't know. It was sort of bizarre.
What has Janet Jackson actually come out and said about it? Has she ever said anything about it?
She said she was embarrassed. The other thing is that he noted is that she has forgiven Justin Timberlake for the incident, and because she I guess came out publicly, or somebody came out publicly, maybe Justin Timberlake did, about the wardrobe malfunction that and apologizing. That's what prompted the stylist to say, okay, well now I can write a book about it.
Okay, I'm gonna just be really honest with you.
Go for it.
Free Britney.
I really don't give a fuck.
Oh, we should have called this the I don't give a shit segment.
Sorry, I'm like.
Or do we give a shit?
I don't give. I love me some Justin Timberlake. I do. In fact, we dance every day to.
Although he's been getting a lot of bad press lately, Justin Timberlake. Between shacking up sorta with his co-star in the movie, and causing trouble between him and his wife, and supposedly the whole thing between him and Britney Spears, and how he was like trashing her in the media, and now this Janet Jackson thing. I don't know if Justin Timberlake is a good role model, my friends.
I love him. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stick with him. I really love him. I love his music. I think he's hilarious. He's like the best SNL guest. I love him. He's my fave.
Free Britney. Who knows?
I like him. I enjoy him.
Excellent.
And of course it was planned. Of course they planned that. They wanted to shock everybody. I mean, shit, if I was going to be on the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
You would do the same thing?
As one of my best friends, Simon O'Neill, would say, I'd take my kid off. No, I would shock everybody. They'd be like, ooh, keep that on, lady.
Yeah, well, it's always fun though when last week we had a story about like the NHL referees coming out and basically admitting what we kind of knew all along, and that is that he got caught on a hot mic basically saying that he's giving a makeup call, that he flubbed one call and that he wanted to make it up. So it was something that we sort of always knew happened, but you never knew, and he came out and got caught saying it. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing, where we always knew that it was not a malfunction, but now he's just coming out and being like, no, that's exactly what was supposed to happen.
Right.
I'm gonna have you naked by the end of this song. I even know that's the only line of any Justin Timberlake song I know. And then boom, and then out it comes. So.
Well, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. We're not going to do much, but
I do have
Heather,
something.
Yes, please.
So we were talking about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Gideon about this earlier. I have, Stephen, you don't know this because you were on stage at the time. We met each other for the first time ever in William Tell with Up Orchestra of New York a bajillion years ago. And I thought it was very appropriate that your theme song is the William Tell Overture, because I break out into hives every time I hear it. Because it was like one of the worst days ever and most embarrassing moments of my life. So I'm in the dressing room getting ready to go on, and I take a deep breath, and the overture's going on. I take a deep breath and I go like this. And I was basically glued into my dress, and my dress split from top to tail. The zipper went, zoop! And I was like, ah! And I had to go on, and all I heard was, and I was sweating. And in the dressing room was Ellie Dean and Ariana Zuckerman, who was covering, and I was sharing a dressing room with Ellie. And I was like, oh my God! And Ariana was like, wear my dress. And I'm like, no, I want to wear my own dress. And so they're in there, literally take, and I don't know if you know Ellie Giddy, but
I went to school with Ellie.
I know you know her, but she was like, only the way that Ellie can do it, she was like, it's okay, don't worry, we got this. So the two of them are like literally getting as many safety pins from everybody as they can. And I'm sweating. So there's nothing, like, it's just getting worse. So then I had to go out and I literally walked like literally sideways the entire time. So nobody could see it. That's when I first met you.
Yeah.
Well, I met you at rehearsal. But that was like, so every time I hear the
Television, that's what you think of? Do you feel a need to walk sideways? The sort of strafe
a little bit,
and forth?
a little bit. And like, but you know what's funny is I do this newsletter with my friend, and it's called Opera Daily, and it's like just like a fun like thing that we do on Substack. But it's really her project, but I help her with it a little bit, and it's really great. And we were talking about and we did a whole Rossini month, and one of the greatest moments ever in my life was that night, though. It was the scariest moment because I was like, I'm gonna
Your tochas is going to be on the stage.
I'm going to show my tatas. That, but then also, too, after Marcello, may he rest in peace, sang the aria, and there was a 7-minute ovation. Wow. Do you remember that, Stephen?
A 7-minute ovation. He beast it, and he did it better the second time. The cabaletta the second time better than the first time. I mean, the first time was incredible, but it was even fantastic the second time. Because you have to remember, at that point in the opera, I think it may have been around midnight because William Tell is like 5 hours, almost close maybe to 12:30, I think.
Did you guys do it in French or Italian?
In French. Okay. And then by that point, that's one of the last things that he sings before that final the sextet, I think. And he so by that point, I mean, I know there's 9-10 high C's in that aria, but he's probably sang about 40, I think, by the end of the night. And you beast it, you get another 7 or 8, whatever it is. And then you also had C sharps and shit like all night long. I mean, for that to happen, that was incredible. That was the first time I think I experienced that.
The only times I've ever experienced that kind of excitement in it, and then after doing Parsifal at the Met, that people went crazy for that too. I've never experienced applause like that. It just shoots at you like a C. But it was so incredible, and I have a recording of it. I have a pirate recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I went back and I was listening to it when we did like a thing on the opera seria and the later operas, and I was listening to it and I just started to cry, and I just thought like this was what an incredible moment, and I felt so lucky because I was sitting on stage because then we did the sextet right after that, and I was sitting on stage for that, and I was like, I got to sit on stage for that moment, and that was like a rock concert. It was like a rock concert. It felt like a rock. It felt like that Corelli performance from Parma, where of Trovatore, where he's like, or not Trovatore, but of Tosca, where he's like, no, I just ate shit. Like, can you tell I have a kid? I'm like always trying to censor, but it's like that. It was that same feeling. So it's like I feel like I have like this kindred thing with you, Stephen, that we share.
Yeah, it was a huge night, especially for Marcello. It was a huge night for him. It was incredible. It was really incredible. My favorite thing was my part was like relatively small, and so I came in, I sang an aria, and then I'm done until like 3.5 hours later. And I remember, or maybe it's even 4 hours later. I remember I went off stage and I just went right across the street to the Carnegie Deli, and like had dinner and fucking ate, and came back just in time to hear Marcello singing the aria and the cabaletta. I timed it to come back and hear him sing it.
I miss the Carnegie Deli so much. Oh, I miss that place so much.
But it was incredible. It was an incredible night.
The whole night was great. And like, and also too, I don't mean to hijack and talk about this, but it's like also too that night, Angela Maria Blasi sang so beautifully. And if you go back and you listen to the recording, and she was sick, and it was some of the smartest, greatest singing I have. She managed her voice so perfectly. It was just, anyway, blah, blah, blah. It was really, but recently I revisited that recording and I went back and listened to it and I was like, yeah.
Tim, you should put that on your Spotify. Your little part that you did for that.
No.
No, you shouldn't. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming on, Heather. It has been a blast, and I'm gonna see you soon because we got some singing to do. Apparently, that's right. A little bit of Carmen with Heather. I met Stephen on a Carmen actually because, well, I guess I met. If you said Gideon met me on a Carmen, is probably the case because that's pretty much all I do, which is fine, covered in bohem. But I want to remind everyone to subscribe to us on iTunes. Yes, we're there, and we're also on Spotify. We got approved. It's all very, very, very exciting.
Marvel.
Thank you, wonderful. So, is there anything else, Stephen, that we have before we sign off?
I don't think so. I think we've covered a pretty good bit today.
Yeah, pretty wide thing. Excellent. So, for the great Heather Johnson, for Stephen Costello, and for myself, Gideon Dabi, thank you for watching or listening, and we'll be back next week at the